Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great. Once again, welcome to Real Device Configuration Series. Guys, today in this video, we are going to discuss some basic configuration on real devices and basic troubleshooting. But make sure you have watched previous video. If you did not watch previous video, first you need to watch that one. Then only you can understand this video. So today in this video, I am going to show you how to change MAC aging time for a particular VLAN, for all VLAN, right? And basic troubleshooting. Okay, first of all, whatever things discussed in previous class, in previous video, I am going to make you I am going to just remind you those things. Okay, so in previous video we had discussed about the MAC address table of switch, right? About the dynamic MAC and static MAC. There are some MAC address for internal usage of switch. So MAC address table, by running this command you can check. These are for internal uses, right? Like CDP, UDP, and as you know, there are some protocols by default running on switches and routers, right? So switches and routers, both interfaces are receiving some traffic by default. So that's why switch will learn some dynamic MAC address as well, but switch is not learning any MAC address. How many total MAC address are there in the MAC address table of switch? 20. Fine. So I think let me run show CDP command over here. Show CDP neighbor. So now you can see no any devices are neighbor of switch 1. So IP interface brief. You can see all interfaces are administratively done. So now I am going to use interface F0/1, 0/2 and 0/3. So I am going to up these three interface. I'm going to run no set command on interface range F0/1 to 3. Say no set over here. Okay, and now if you will check the traffic, incoming traffic on F0/1 interface, how we can check it? And if you will check, so MAC address table now, so MAC address table, you can see this switch will have some dynamic MAC address. If you will check now, so there are how many MAC address? 21 MAC address. Soon it is going to learn 2 more MAC address, right? So now you can see in the MAC address table switch have learned 3 dynamic MAC address. This one is MAC address of router 1, because on fast Ethernet 0/1 router 1 is connected, right? This is MAC address of router 2. This is MAC address of router 3. Fine. So why switch is learning these 3 MAC address automatically? Because of some protocols. Routers are sending keep alive message, and switch is also sending keep alive message. How we can check it? So interface F0/1. I have already discussed these things in previous class. Here you can see keep alive message, keep alive set 10 seconds. That means after 10 seconds this switch is sending one keep alive message. And in last video we had disabled these things. We have disabled STP protocol, VTP protocol, CDP protocol, right? Keep alive. And then we had discussed switch was not receiving any packets on any interfaces. Okay, but now switch is receiving traffic, and switch is sending traffic as well. How we can check that? So IP, so interface F0/1, and you can filter the output. So in real time always try to filter the output. Okay, so I am going to say include packets input. So here you can see switch have received this 9974 packets on this port. And how many packets have out from this interface? So let's say output. So see here, this is how much packets which have out from this interface. Okay, now if I will ping from router 1 to router 2, it will send ICMP traffic on this interface. So here input traffic will increase, and here output traffic will increase. Yes or no? So this is how in real time you will check input traffic on switch interface and output traffic on switch interface. Okay, so let me show you the configuration of all routers. This is my router 1. Here you can see I have already configured IP address brief exclude unassign 10.1. Fine. Now I am going to ping 10.1.1. 2, and let me repeat 10,000 traffic. Okay, so now if you will verify, so input, okay, so now you can see here input traffic is increasing, yes or no? And if you will check 0/2 interface, here output traffic will increase. Output, my god, 10,000 packet have sent it. Okay, let me ping again, let me send 10,000 packet again. Here you can see output traffic is increasing on F0/2, right? So this is, these things we have already discussed in previous class. Okay, and now guys, I am going to show you, so MAC address table. So first thing that we need to discuss here is how this switch have learned 23 MAC address, but my question is how many MAC address this switch can learn, right? So if you want to check that how many MAC addresses this switch can learn, what command you will learn? So MAC address table and count. Okay, so here you can see this switch can learn total around 6,000 MAC address, right? It have learned 3 dynamic MAC address, and it is not showing a static MAC address at these MAC address because these are for internal use, right? We have already discussed these things in previous video. Okay, so total MAC address that switch have learned till now is 3, and this switch can learn up to 6,000 MAC address, around 6,000 MAC address, right? We can change this value as well. Okay, so later on we will do those things as well, but for now let me discuss aging time. So MAC address table aging time, and you can see the global aging time is what, 300 seconds. Okay, so means whenever switch will learn any dynamic MAC address, it will store that MAC address in their MAC address table for 300 seconds, but you are allowed to change this value. You can change this value. Okay, so if I want to change it, how I can change it? MAC address table and then aging time, let's say 400. Okay, and now if you will verify, so MAC address table aging time, you can see global aging time is 400 seconds. That means this is the global aging time, this is for all VLAN. But if you want to change MAC aging time for a particular VLAN, that also you can do in real time. Sometimes you need to change MAC aging time for particular VLAN. How we can do that? MAC aging time and say 500, or yes 500 for suppose a particular VLAN, for VLAN 10. Okay, now you can see, so MAC address table aging time, so global MAC aging time is 400, and for VLAN 10 MAC aging time is what, 500. So for VLAN 10, whatever MAC address this switch will learn, it will store for 500 seconds, and for other VLANs it is default, right? It is 400 seconds, not default. Default is 300 seconds, and this is how you can change MAC aging time on switches. Okay, for a particular VLAN as well, and for all VLAN as well, for global aging time as well. Okay, now guys see, so MAC address table count. So this switch can learn how many MAC address, 6,000, and if I want to increase it, how I can increase it? For that you have to learn the SDN, switch database manager. So if you will run command, so SDN preferred, by using this command you can see we have actually different types of SDM template, but current template is default, right? In default template, a switch can learn 6,000 MAC address, because you know this switch is layer 3 switch. On this switch we have some space for routing as well, and we have some space for switching as well. But if you want to use this switch only for switching, you don't want to use this switch for routing, you need to change the template. Okay, how we can change it? See here, in global configure mode you will run SDM prefer, and see, let me put question mark over here. You can see access, default, routing, and VLAN. So this is the default. Okay, default means some space will be for routing and some space will be for switching. But if you want to use this switch only for switching, what you can configure? You can configure the VLAN templates. So let me say VLAN. what it's saying, the change to the running STM preference have been stored but can't take effect until the next reload. So if you will reload this switch now, then SDM templates will be what access, and then you will see there are lots of space for MAC address to store MAC address. Let me reload this switch once, and I am going to save the configuration, whatever configuration are there, and let me reload this switch. Now it will take some time, okay, because this is real devices, and if you will reload it, it will take some time. So just I am stopping the recording for some time. Now you can see switch is rebooting. It will take some time, so till then let me pause the video. Okay, so just wait for some time. And guys, these are very important configuration, and these command can help you a lot while troubleshooting network in real time. Okay, so I am going to make you understand everything on real device, right, day by day. So these are very basic things. Okay, so maybe in first 10 days we will discuss basic things, then we will discuss advanced things. Okay, so now you can see I have access of my switch, and now if you will run so SDN preferred command here, you can see the current template is what, VLAN, and this switch can learn how many MAC address, 12,000. So if you will run so MAC address table count, now you can see this switch can learn around 12,000 MAC address, yes or no? But now this switch have less memory for routing. Okay, so this is how we can increase the size of switch size on switches for switching, right, to store MAC address. Now guys, again let me run so MAC address table. Okay, now you can see these are dynamic MAC address. This is MAC address of router 1, this is MAC address of router 3, and this is MAC address of router 2, because on 0/1 I have connected router 1, on 0/2 I have connected router 2, on 0/3 I have connected router 3. So if you want to check the MAC address of a particular interface, how you can check? So MAC address table, after that put question mark over here. Here you can see I am getting one option to run interface. So I want to check MAC address on interface F0/1 interface. It will show you the MAC address of 0/1 interface only. This is the MAC address of router 1. How you can verify? Go to router 1, and here also you can run what, so interface F0/0, and you can filter the traffic, let's say include by. So you can see the MAC address of this interface. This is the MAC address of router 1, and see both MAC address are same, yes or no? Both MAC address are same. Okay, so this is how you can filter MAC address table of switch. So blindly you will not run so MAC address table in real time. So MAC address table, if you will run this command, there will be lots of entry, right, and it will very difficult. Okay, if you know the MAC address of router 1, see what is the MAC address of router 1, this one. So I want to check that this MAC address is learned on which interface of switch. What I can do, I can run command show MAC address table and then put the MAC address. So if you will run this command, it will show you the interface, on which interface switch have learned this MAC address. Let me hit enter over here. Okay, not like this, MAC, not like this. Here what I can do, here I can say, let me put question mark over here, and here address, we need to define address and then put the MAC address, and see, right, by running this command you can check that on which interface switch have learned this MAC address. Okay, So if you need to check a particular MAC address that switch have learned this MAC address on which interface, you will run this command. If you will run command show MAC address table, then you have to check it manually, right? And if there are lots of MAC address, it will take some time. Okay, so that's why I am saying you how you can filter the output. Okay, so by running this command, see this switch is telling you that this MAC address is learned on which interface, on F0/1. Here also you can see this MAC address is learned on which interface, on 0/1 interface. Okay, now if you want to make a static entry over here, how you can do that? Go to global config mode. I want to configure this MAC address on F0/1 statically. What I can do? MAC address table. After that you can say static, and then you can see the address. So let me put the MAC address. This is the MAC address which I am going to set over here. No, let me do again. MAC address table static. After that, let me copy the MAC address of router 1 again. Okay, let me paste it over here. And on which interface you want to configure this MAC address, and for which VLAN? So for VLAN 1, and on which interface, because as you know, switch will maintain VLAN information, port number, and MAC address, right, in MAC address table. So interface F0/1. Okay, and now if you will check MAC address table, so MAC address table, see here, static. So now this MAC address entry is static, so this entry will be permanent, right? There is no any aging time. Okay, and if you want to configure aging time 0 for all the MAC addresses, you can do that as well, right? Now you can see total MAC addresses 23, and if you will configure MAC aging time 0, then entry will be permanent. Okay, so what I want, that entry should not remove after 300 seconds, because if entry will removed after 300 seconds, right, then switch will do broadcast first time. And if switch will do broadcast, whenever switch will do broadcast, switch will use their CPU, right? And whenever CPU utilization will high, performance will low, performance can decrease, right? So I am going to show you how to set the MAC address aging time 0. For that you need to run command MAC address table, after that aging time, and let's say 0. Okay, now you can see, so MAC address table aging time. So see, global aging time is 0. Now entry except VLAN 10, for all VLAN entry will be permanent, right? Now MAC aging time is 0. So switch is not going to remove any entry after 300 seconds or after 400 seconds. Okay, fine. So hope it is clear to everyone. And how many MAC address this switch can learn now? So show MAC address table and count. Now you can see this switch can learn around 12,000 MAC address. Okay, fine guys. After this we can discuss some more things over here. How we can filter MAC address table, we have already discussed MAC address. So MAC address table, and if you want to check dynamic entry, you can run dynamic, right? So it will show you only dynamic MAC address. Okay, if you want to check only static, so what you can run here, static, so it will show you only static MAC address. And if you want to check a particular MAC address, you can put here the MAC address. Suppose I want to check this MAC address is running on which interface, have learned on which interface. What I can do, I can write address, and here I can put the MAC address. Okay, it will show me the interface. Fine. So we had discussed how to change MAC aging time, how to change the SDM preferred, okay, on switch, and how to make a static entry on switch. Okay, so these are very important. Always keep these things in mind. Okay, and if you want to set zero aging time, so we have discussed that how to configure aging time 0 as well. Okay, now different thing. Next thing is on switches, you can see you can run command so interface f0/1, and if you want to check layer 2 information, what you can do here, you can run switch port, right? By running this command, you can see we are running what, DTP over here. If you want to disable DTP, how you can disable DTP? Go to interface f0/1 and interface f0/1, and here you need to define switch port mode access, right? So now if you will check, so interface switch port, here you can see administrative mode is what, static access. That means I have disabled the DTP over here. Okay, as you know, I am running what, VTP as well over here. By default VTP is running on this switch. So if you want to check the BTP mode, you can run this command on switch, and here you can see VTP mode is what, transparent. If you want to change it, we can change it later. We are going to discuss these things as well. Okay, but for now leave it. This is very basic. Let me check the video length. Video length is around 21 minutes, so we can learn some more thing over here on this switch. Okay, but guys, must tell you that in real device you will not run CDP neighbor command. CDP is not a secure protocol, so you need to disable CDP. How we can disable it? Go to global config mode and say no CDP run. Okay, by using this command we can disable CDP. So if you will run now so CDP command, you can see CDP is not enabled. Fine. So how we can check the connected device? By running another command like show interface status, we can check it. So interface status, see here on f0/1, its status is showing connected, on 0/2 also, and on 0/3 also. But on these interfaces you can see status is disabled. Okay, now next thing that here we need to discuss is, see here duplex is what, full. But what is this A is auto. A means auto, means the duplex of this interface is configured as full with the help of negotiation. So if you want to disable negotiation, what we can do here, I can manually configure. Go to interface f0/1, and here manually we can configure what, this port as duplex and say full. Okay, now you can see so interface status, it's showing us full, but here you can see there is no indication of A. Okay, in the same way with a speed as well, we can go to interface f0/1 and say speed is what, 100 na. Yeah, so I am going to configure 100 manually, so 100. Okay, now if you will check, so interface status, you can see speed is also 100, and I have configured it manually. So what will happen if I will change the speed on daughter interface? Go to here on daughter, say enable config t interface f0/1 and say speed 10. Okay, now see here, if I will run command so interface status, here speed is what, 100, and on daughter interface speed is what, 10. So speed will mismatch, right? So if you will run any protocol where speed should match, it will not work. Okay, so make sure if you are manually configuring speed and duplexy, both side you will configure same. Okay, now other things. So, and if you will put question mark over here, you can see we can run multiple commands, right? We can configure access list as well on this switch. We can check adjacency, we can check ARP. So if we want to check ARP table, so ARP, So is there any entry? No. But on router, if you will run ARP, so IP ARP, here you need to run command like this. So IP ARP, so this router have information of 10.1, but if I will ping to 10.2, ping 10.1.1.2, it will have MAC address of 10.2 as well. So now if you will run so IP ARP, you can see there is information of 10.1 and 10.2. If you will ping 10.3, so it will have information of the MAC address of router 3. See, and these entry are for 4 hour. So after 4 hour, if there is no any entry, right, suppose this router don't know what is the MAC address of this PC switch, this router need to generate what? ARP. And whenever router will generate any traffic, as you know, router will use their CPU utilization. Okay, so if you want to increase the time of ARP, you can increase on Cisco IS as well, right? So today we had discussed how to increase MAC aging time, right? So then switch will not do broadcasting. And many time interviewer is asking this question to network engineer. Interviewer can ask you like how to reduce a non-unicast flooding. A non-unicast flooding means whenever switch don't know the destination MAC address and switch have received the unicast packet frame, switch will do a non-unicast flooding, right? So what you can do, you can configure MAC aging time 0, right, to reduce a non-unicast flooding. Okay, so if these things is clear to you, please let me know in comment. If you have any doubt, please let me know in comment. If you don't have any doubt, please like this video. If you learn something from this video, please hit on like button. Okay, and in next video we will discuss some more concepts, some more basic things on real devices. For today I am not going to discuss anything else. Video length is already 26 minutes, and if I will make a small video, it will very easy for you as well to watch. Okay, so that's why I am not going to discuss anything else in this video, guys. We will meet soon in next video. Till then, stay safe. Bye bye.